Hey guys, welcome back to the garage. So like I mentioned in the last video, now that we got the car looking pretty minty, it's time to put some more performance under the hood. So what we're going to do is we got a smaller pulley, we got an isolator, solid isolator, because this is still the stock supercharger. It was replaced like 20,000 miles ago or something like that. So it's relatively new. We're going to pull that isolator out before it starts doing damage to the shaft. But before we do any of that stuff, we need to make sure that the car is in good shape mechanically. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a health check on the engine. So we're going to do compression, leak down. While I get the plugs out, we'll get new plugs in there, the BR7Es, and then we're going to have the proper gap in them, and then we'll change the trans fluid and we'll do the rear end flush as well. So like I mentioned, I got some new plugs here. So these are NGK BR7EF. I got a 10 pack just because these engine bays are pretty tight. So if something happens, like I drop one or I end up breaking the ceramic when I'm trying to screw it in or whatever it is, then I got a couple spares. So anyway, I'll bring you in. We'll have a look at the engine bay and probably start disassembling a bunch of stuff so we can get to the plugs. All right, guys. So here it is. This is the engine bay of a second gen CTS-V. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull all this plastic off, so that engine cover, I'm going to pull that one off, and then I think what we're going to do is remove the cold air intake so we can get to that plug right there. While the intake's out, I have a new heat shield in a box over there. Oh, look at that mess. Don't look at that. Anyway, it's in a box. This is an air raid system, and what I found out is that air raid's got a lifetime warranty on all their parts. So all I did is I emailed them and said, hey, listen, I got a bunch of corrosion on my heat shield, and they gladly sent me all these new parts. So I haven't even opened the box yet. It just showed up, so we're gonna swap that in there so we don't have any more of an ugly engine bay, and then we'll be in good shape. So expect a bunch of busted knuckles and a lot of cramped working conditions. I just took a quick look in here. The other thing too is I'm trying to do a compression leak down, so the engine should be warm for that kind of stuff. I just took it for a drive, so I'm sure this is going to be a bad idea to take the plugs out, but whatever, it is what it is. Might just have to wear gloves or whatever, but it's going to be a little toasty in there.
I found a picture we took many years ago, when I said to you we would never grow old. Messages I've saved that I never send, cause I don't know you, but I used to back then. I remember that I was drunk out my mind when we kissed for the first time in the back of...
Alright guys, this is where we're at now. I got the all the engine covers off, I got the strut tower brace off, got the intake off, and one thing that was, there's only one bolt holding this this heat shield on, and it looks like it snapped right in there. So anyway, that sucks. All I did is I even used just this Harbor Freight little electric ratchet, but anyway, it was strong enough to break it, so whatever. I think the next step now is I've already started here, but we're gonna pop all these ignition coils off on the cam covers so we can get a little bit more room, and then hopefully go from there. We'll do it on each side. Hopefully that's enough room to just get to all the plugs. We'll see. Alright guys, so we got all the coil packs out of there, and I left the leads, you know, so the spark plug wires on the plugs, and we got some long needle nose. We're going to try and pry those off. Make sure you don't pull the wire itself, make sure you pull the rubber boot, and yeah, these are original plugs. This car's got like 60,000 miles, so I bet you we're going to have to fight with them. Oh, Mustang. Yeah, don't worry about that. Alright guys, I'm going to bring you in and try and show you guys a little trick that I just figured out here. Essentially guys, so these two really long needle nose pliers, and I take the straight one, hook it onto the rubber boot, and then I use this guy, which has the curved end, and I gently pry against the cylinder head, or the cam cover I guess, or coil cover, and it's been popping off really good. Now these have been on there, like I said, since new, so hopefully Hopefully the plugs come out good, but anyway, this has been working to get these stuck boots off. So there's a straight one on there. I'm just pinching the boot. I don't know if you guys can see that, but then you put this guy in here and you gently pry this guy and then it pops right out like that. Oh, there she is. Alright, so now to get the plugs out. I think this is going to go a little bit harder than the wires, but we'll see here. Especially because there's hot exhaust everywhere, but alright guys, so another little trick here. If you buy these cheap wobble extensions, there's the universal joints or whatever they call them, you put tape on the end so they don't wobble as much. So that way you can kind of like blindly guide your socket in there and not have to hold this thing like a limp. Alright guys, so I jumped ahead, I got all the plugs out and here they are on the bench. So this here is the passenger side, that's the driver's side. There are the plug gaps. This one here, I dropped on the floor, so I didn't get a reading. But anyway, they're all around like 40 thou, roughly. The only thing I noticed though is that these plugs, so that guy and that guy, have oil on the threads. So I'm not really quite sure exactly what that means yet. But anyway, so there's no oil anywhere else. So if you guys have any ideas what that means, just let me know, please. So anyway, now that we got those out, we're going to go ahead and compare with our new plugs, see what they look like, and go from there. Okay, so here is the new NGK BR7EF, and if we compare side by side, you can tell that there are some differences there. The main one being the protruded tip of the stock AC Delco and the non-protruded tip of the NGKs. And apparently these are all made for boost, and that's why people say as soon as you up the boost, which we're going to be doing, we're going to essentially be doubling the boost, you get rid of these tips because I think they cause a lot of spark blowout, or they don't cause it, but the boost causes blowout on these protruded tips, whereas it doesn't on these ones here, these not normal ones, probably because the electrode is shrouded in there. Anyway, so but you can see that the thread length is not any longer. It's just the tip length that's a little bit different, and it's actually shorter. So I feel better about putting a plug in there that is shorter versus one that would be longer. Then I'd have a question about that one. So we got the Pittsburgh, obviously, Harbor Freight compression test kit. I'm not too worried about that. Really, we're using this as a metric to tell if we have variance between cylinders. The actual number that it's recording, I don't really care about. We just want to see if we've got one cylinder that's low on compression versus the other ones. So anyway, before we do that, we're going to come in here and pull the fuse for the fuel pump, so that we're not injecting fuel, washing down our cylinder, stuff like that, while we're doing our compression test. Okay guys, so I had to resort to the owner's manual like a noob, but anyway, it's actually behind here for the coupes. It's fuse number 21 is the fuel pump fuse right there. This one here is actually not labeled with what it is. So anyway, fuel pump is fuse number 21, 30 amp. And so we're going to look under there, and that is a 30 amp green one right there. Hopefully you guys can see. Yeah, that guy. You can pull that out. Now, typically you're supposed to do this when the car's running so that you purge all the fuel out of the lines, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, we got the compression tester installed here, or the compression gauge I should say. And I'm going to go ahead and crank it. We'll see what we get. So 150, not bad I guess. Okay guys, so we got the results for the compression test. Actually it looks really, really good. So they were all 150 other than cylinder 4, which was 143. So typically what you like to see, cylinder to cylinder variation is under 10%. So that's perfect. Okay, so now we're moving on to leak down testing. So this is my homemade leak down tester that I made another video. You can check it out in the corner. Anyway, this actually makes it really simple. You have a regulator on this side, a pressure gauge here, and then a pressure gauge on this side. So there's an orifice in here, and essentially what you're doing is you're measuring what the pressure drop is across the orifice. So really simple. You set 100 psi on this side, and whatever the gauge reads on this side is your percent leak down. So let's just say you're at 100 here, you're at 95 here, the difference is 5%, so you're at 5% leak down. So anyway, we got every cylinder done with the compression, so now all we have to do is make sure that to do leak down, we need to have both the valves, the intake and the exhaust, closed for that cylinder. So we have a bar on the crank bolt, and we're just going to bar it over until we can feel some air coming out of the line, and then know we're at TDC roughly, and then hook up the gauge and shop air, and Bob's your uncle. Alright guys, hopefully you guys can see this, but so I have, this is my outlets connected to cylinder 1, and I got my bar on here, and if I just block this end here and I bar it over, you can see it's building pressure, and if I let it go it bleeds it. Anyway, so now we know that both the valves are closed. I got my regulator set to exactly 100 psi, and when it's flowing we probably need to adjust it, but anyway, we're just going to plug it in and see what we get. Alright, one thing I forgot to mention was before you plug this thing in, we are going to run in the car, put it in gear, so that even though the engine has essentially pressure on that one cylinder, roughly 100 psi, it's not going to want to move the car. The e-brake's on, it's in gear, fingers crossed that it doesn't move, and my e-brakes are good. So, alright, we'll check it out. I took the bar off just in case, and now we need air. So, let's see what we get. Okay, so there you go, we're reading 100, and if you can see there, we're reading about 96. Let me try and zoom in. Alright, so there's 96. Pressure's going down actually now. I'm running out of air. Okay, so 100, 95, 96. Alright? The difference between these two gauges. So there you go. Alright, alright, alright. We're done the leak down test, and check it. It actually looks excellent. Now, obviously my gauge is probably not 100% accurate, but who cares? These are all fantastic numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4%. Who cares? Like, anything under 20 is golden. So anyway, I'm going to run with this. Good compression numbers, good leak down numbers, and I got new spark plugs that we're going to slap in there, and I think we're going to send it. So guys, stick around for next episode. I got a 2.38 inch pulley that we're going to slap on there, some injectors, and the solid isolator. So yeah, stick around, give me a like, subscribe, and we'll see you later.